fans of high quality entertainment. I just first of all wanted to let you all know that this Saturday, December 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be doing another Beatles Get Back discussion, and with Glenn Kellaway from the basement, Sam St. John, and Robert's on my turntable. And it was a lot of fun, the last one we did, 2-hour live chat. And this one coming up, I was thinking, well, we could talk about other things too, but I mean, this is a really exciting time for Beatles fans, so I think it's going to just be on the Beatles. And if you want to talk about other bands or whatever, we'll have more live chats in the near future for that. I was planning on, first of all, I think all of us are rewatching the Get Back documentary because there's so much to take in. And in fact, last night I started watching part 1 again, and I finished it this morning. And as I was watching it last night, I was thinking, did I miss that? And then, you know, some other part of the part 1 documentary, did I miss that part? I don't remember that. And I think it's because I woke up super early when the documentary was able to be viewed, and I watched it, you know, half awake and half asleep. But I really enjoyed it again last night, and like I said, I was going to review once more part 1, part 2, and part 3 in 3 separate videos. But we're just gonna get it all out of our systems in these live chats. There might even be a third one, who knows? But while I was watching part 1, I started taking notes like everybody else seems to do when they review. They're more professional, I guess. I just try and remember things. But I even gave up on that because there's so much to take in. Like I have here, Beatles history. I loved that it started. It's like such a compact history of the Beatles, but it was done so well in like 10 minutes or so. And I noticed at the beginning, when everybody was arriving at Twickenham Studios, Paul McCartney was the last to arrive. What's going on there? He's usually there first with Ringo, of course. You know, you would see Yoko sitting there quietly knitting. And I think that's kind of more proof for Beatles fans that think that Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles. I feel if anyone broke up the Beatles, it was probably Alan Klein. And, you know, with George, Ringo, and John, especially John, being so gung-ho on Alan Klein taking over the Beatles' business. And Paul McCartney seemed to be the smartest of them, at least in that regard. Ringo right away, I guess mainly because he was filming The Magic Christian to begin with, but he didn't want to travel. It's kind of cool seeing the Beatles reading the Beatles Monthly magazine. One after 909, you know, going through old songs, and George Harrison was smiling, you know, throughout part 1. It's not like he was always grumpy or looking sad. He was smiling and laughing at certain points. Yoko Ono actually looked sad quite often, and you know, I think she was dealing with the press, her and John, and you know, none of us know what any of the Beatles went through. And even the part where George Harrison quits the Beatles at the end of part 1, very, very politely, I must add, that you have to understand, maybe it's not all Beatles related. You know, with him, especially at the end of part 1, looking so sad, almost looking like he's going to cry, because I think he had personal problems at home with Patty, and I had even read online that the night before he quit, supposedly Patty had left him, but who knows, I'm not sure about that. But like I said, all of the Beatles had their personal stuff to deal with, and then they had to deal with the Beatles and putting on a show, which wasn't very well planned, of course. It was cool to see Paul, well, the Beatles working on Give Me Some Truth, but especially Paul and John singing together and helping each other with all of their songs. It was so cool to see them all kind of interacting with each other. All Things Must Pass with Paul singing along and John singing along, that was really sweet. Everybody helping out. Even George mentioning Every Little Thing, one of my favorite underrated Beatles songs. And then my notes end. One thing I really, there's a couple of things. The first time I kind of watched everything, I was saying that in part one, John Lennon doesn't seem very with it or very excited or whatever. And in parts 2 or 3, he kind of wakes up. But in part 1, he's actually, for the most part, pretty involved with the singing and talking and everything. And he's doing, he would pick it up a bit more in parts 2 or 3, but he was involved in part 1. But I think he, like Glenn Kellaway from the Basement said this in the last live stream, he is lazy. He can be lazy, and I think that's part of it. You would see all of the Beatles at different points yawning and so tired. And Twickenham Studios wasn't the best place for waking people up. One other thing I did notice the second time, especially watching it, part 1, is whenever George Harrison would bring up one of his songs, like I Me Mine, Paul McCartney seemed fairly interested in what he was doing. He would be looking over at the lyrics and, talking to him about it, or he'd get on the drums or keyboards or whatever, and he'd sing parts of it. John Lennon didn't seem, he even almost kind of put down George Harrison's I Me Mine, saying it's not suited for the Beatles, whatever he said. And then at one point he's waltzing with Yoko Ono. He's not even playing along with the Beatles to George's song. So I think if anything, it was John Lennon that was kind of, at least early, in part 1, wasn't really that interested in what George had to bring to the table. And the other thing, of course, with part 1 is all of the songs that Paul McCartney was working on. Let It Be, you see him basically forming Get Back in front of George and Ringo. That was just so cool to see on his bass, but he's playing it like a guitar. The Long and Winding Road, and then it's great to see Mal Evans. So much of him is featured in the whole documentary, and he's helping the Beatles. He's even, he's writing down lyrics and everything. So that was really cool to watch. And of course, the very end of part 1 with the demo of Isn't It a Pity being played, and George had left, and at one point, of course, the Beatles are going crazy. Ringo's bashing away on the drums, John on the guitar, and Paul, of course, Yoko screaming away, and Paul with the feedback on the amplifier. They were just going nuts because, they were in shock probably, and Paul swinging around and everything. But it was so sweet. I know this touched a lot of Beatles fans when, at the very end of part 1, Ringo and Paul are talking, and then John is with Yoko and kind of comes into the conversation, and all three of them are kind of hugging each other, and so that was very sweet to see. And so, I'm very excited. I'm going to be watching parts 2 and 3 before the live chat, and I believe, like I said, all of us are going to have a second look at the whole documentary, so we might bring more to the live chat to talk about. And so we're really looking forward to you, Beatles fans out there, joining us for the live chat this Saturday, December 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You should see the video here or here at the end of this. Click on it to set a reminder, and we'll see you Saturday. And by the way, I'm also today possibly going to listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Love Beach for my Does This Album Suck series. So please pray for me. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.